that Department of Commerce?
Good afternoon. Our first committee meeting of the day is the Planning and Economic Development Committee. Those committee members are Fusco, Kamer, Connor, Boyes, and Hannah. We do have all committee members present whenever you're ready, Mr. Chair.
Yes, I'd like to respectfully request a roll call, please.
Fusco,
Aye.
Kamer, Connor, Boyes,
Aye.
Hannah.
Aye.
All committee members are present.
Thanks. How about a motion that we accept the minutes of the last meeting? Thank you. Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Again, the ayes have it. Thank you. All right, cool. So we'll go ahead and just dive in. Yes, sir. Explain. Okay. Did you abstain?
I wasn't here for the last meeting.
Oh, okay. Good. All right, very good. Thank you. Did you pick up that?
Thank you for clarifying that.
Thank you. Very good. Okay. With that, we'll look at the regular list of legislation and take time on it, short of any questions or concerns, and move into the new list of legislation, of which the first item, I respectfully request Sarah Viviano to please read in. Thank you.
The first item in new legislation for planning and economic development is item number 3. It's an ordinance approving the addition of the properties located at 3455 to 3465 Granger Road and 845 Y Road in Bath Township to the Bath-Akron Fairlawn Joint Economic Development District, authorizing the mayor or his designee to amend the Bath-Akron Fairlawn JED agreement to include the properties located at 3455 to 3465 Granger Road and 845 Y Road and declaring an emergency.
Yes, thank you. Susie Graham Moore is here, I see.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much. This legislation just simply allows us to include an additional 3.36 acres of land to be added to the district of the Copley-Akron JED.
Very good, thank you.
Any questions?
Can you tell us a little bit more?
Sure. So these parcels are currently being used for commercial use, and the intent is to bring them into the JED so that the tax revenue can be collected, shared across the JED. And we're not currently existing within the JED. We do have the Bath Township that has already approved the addition. The city of Fairlawn has the legislation in front of it. It will not be able to approve that legislation until August, at which time our council will be on break, and so we want to try to get this positioned for approval, anticipating their approval as well.
Cool. Is there a rush on this?
No. Consent?
Okay.
Consent would be fine, thank you.
All right, good. And they're agreeing, I assume, agreeing to all the terms and conditions that we've outlined in previous agreements?
Yes.
Everything's the same? Cool. Questions or comments from anyone? Is consent agenda okay?
Yes, thank
The
you so much.
recommendation for consent?
So moved.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Very good, the ayes have it. Item number 4, Ms. Viviano, thank you.
Item number 4 is an ordinance amending and/or supplementing Title III Administration, Chapter 31, Departments, Boards, and Commissions, Article 2, Urban Design and Historic Preservation, Section 31.395, Alterations, Demolitions, and Environmental Changes of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Akron and declaring an emergency.
Yes, Mr. Julian.
Good afternoon, Chair,
Julian.
members of the committee. So this is an update to a section of the city code that deals with how the Urban Design and Historic Preservation Commission treats requests for certificate of appropriateness related to landmarks. So if a property or a district is given local landmark status, which is also conferred by the commission and then council, then if there are alterations to that district, to a property within the district or a property that's given landmark status, you have to go back to the commission and ask for what's called a certificate of appropriateness, which means that the changes that you're making are okay within that realm of thinking about historic landmarks. So that could be a demolition, it could be an addition, it could be a transformation somehow to the facade, those types of things. And so you have to before you can get a building permit to do those things, you have to go back to the commission and share what they're going to do, and then what you plan to do, and then they issue the certificate of provide their approval to their certificate of appropriateness, meaning you can go forward and do whatever changes to the structure that you want to do. So what we've had and what the commission recognized is that there was kind of some inconsistency in the language, and so this is a cleanup that emerges from the commission. And those changes are on page 2 of the ordinance, letter D, the approval guidelines. And you'll see here that they're under number 2 there for demolition. There were 4 criteria listed.
Yes.
And it says, originally, it said after each one that the connecting clause word there was and. So the landmark is so deteriorated, and the structure is a secondary one, and that the retention is not technically feasible, and after thorough investigation determines that there's no feasible alternative to demolition. And so there's, how the literally reads is you had to meet all 4 criteria, right? Which is, in the case of that one that we struck out there, it's impossible, right? It's self-contradictory. So this is a cleanup. It moves from and to or, strikes B, and now we have 3 criteria, and if you meet one of those, then the commission has a guideline there to determine or to offer up that permission, that certificate of appropriateness.
I like that piece. The question, though, is that is the end all and be all the commission, either of the commissions, I guess, or council, or is it recommendations, or where are we going from there in terms of this piece here? If there's a change that's recommended.
So letter E, immediately after the changes, the approval or denial of the certificate is forwarded to council, and then there can be an appeal to council.
So
That doesn't change
Okay.
as how this is contemplated.
Gotcha.
So the council would still be made aware of any of those changes. And then if the council or the owner or
Gotcha.
interested parties wants to
The petitioner, yeah.
have an appeal, they certainly can.
How would this apply to districts? Whereas, you could have, say, 50 homes in a district, and that could be pretty cumbersome if it's, very cumbersome if you think about it.
It could be. So when you do a district, you and you have the landmark status, you identify the area, and then you identify contributing buildings to that.
Yes.
And so it's not necessarily every building that's in the district. And then, it would be the contributing building.
Yeah.
That
And
would
ideally, they should have their own guiding, we won't call it a commission, but they should have their own guiding,
The guidelines that determine
Yeah.
why it fits and.
but where they could apply to a locally committee of folks some of which may have expertise, and they could deal with it. If you read the law, I'm pretty sure that's the way it is. That's what they're encouraged to do. And oftentimes it's not necessarily, whereas, and might want to look into this, whereas it's not necessarily, while we're cleaning things up, the person who has, say, the house, and they want to rip off the front, they can apply, or they're required, I think, to apply, and then they basically make a recommendation. But might want to look at that for like I said, districts versus, because this is more isolated, exclusively just to buildings, correct?
Well,
not?
it would be a landmark or a property itself that's has landmark status, or a property that's within a district that has landmark
Right,
status,
and we don't-
and it's a contributing building.
Yeah, we don't necessarily have districts per se here in Akron. We kind of do.
We do. I mean, there's some in downtown. I think there's 2 or 3 landmark districts in downtown.
And there's some that's recognized by the state, but not
and that's
by
a
the
different,
city.
and that's outside of this is only for our local landmark designation.
Okay, even better. Okay, good. Yeah, I'd like to find out what those 2 districts are downtown that this would apply to.
I can get you that.
Yeah, cool.
No problem.
Good. I'm sorry, any other questions or comments? Yes, Tina Boyd.
You have me thinking about districts now, Mr. Chair. I'm curious, would we be demolishing a whole historic district or just a contributing structure in a historic district?
Well, I think that the chances that we would demolish a historic district would be low. I think sometimes a district is defined in a quite narrow way. So there is a chance, I guess, that it could happen. But this language matches the language about how you create the local landmark designation, right? So it mirrors that, and that's why it's in there like that.
So by proxy, a contributing structure in a historic district would be considered a historic landmark?
I think that's right, yeah.
Okay. I was just thinking otherwise, it might be prudent to add or contributing structure in a historic district is so deteriorated. Because we refer to districts and landmarks separately, but not individual structures within districts, if that makes sense. I mean, if that's not, that doesn't prohibit us
yeah.
from doing that, then I'll let the lawyers decide.
It's almost as if I think we really almost need to hone in on that, the district versus the especially the downtown piece, because they're 2 really totally separate kind of entities, really, and ought to be looked at in a different way. But I do like this in that, it kind of loosens it up a bit as opposed to and, it's or. I like that piece of it a lot. So I get the intent and I support it on without further discussion. But Sharon Connor has a question?
Just as if you send the historic districts, could you make sure we all get one, given the historic neighborhood in the Heights? I'd like to make sure that we know what we're doing up there.
Good. Any other questions or comments? I'm going to recommend, is time okay to refer this, just for further discussion? Yeah.
That'd be great.
Like I said, on the surface, I like it a lot. I think it makes a lot of sense. But cool. Is there, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against? Okay, the ayes have it. Thank you very much for bringing this forward, and we're adjourned right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Our next committee today will be the Rules Committee, and it will begin at 2 o'clock. Those committee members are McKittrick, Busco, Amobian, Connor, and Davis. Again, that's the Rules Committee, and it will begin at 2 o'clock. Thank you.